We are back for another episode of the Scoop College Basketball Podcast. We have been not podcasting for the past few weeks because I did not have Wi-Fi, which was not ideal. I have recently moved into a new place, as you can probably see by the background, if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're not watching on YouTube, you should check it out. You can see our faces, which may or may not be a good thing. But yeah, so we are getting into conference preview season. And the way we're doing this is we are working from one side of the country to the other. So this is the Big West transfer, or not transfer, the Big West conference preview. We were just talking about transfers off air, but yes, this is a Big West conference preview. So we will dedicate our full episode to talking about the preview of the Big West, breaking down every team in the conference. We prepared our all conference teams, some other individual awards, stuff like that. So yeah. But first, to start the podcast off on a bit of a sad note, we want to pay our respects to Houston big man Reggie Chaney, who sadly passed away the other day at the young age of 23. Really, really sad news to hear, obviously, because he's not that much older than me, but it's a guy I have vivider memories of playing. Like I saw him playing person, and he really embodied the Houston culture. He was a big that really just fought underneath, and yeah, really sending my thoughts and prayers out to his friends, family, the Houston and Arkansas basketball programs. Anything to add on to
Yeah, no,
that,
I know.
Kyle?
I know Calvin's going through it. Calvin's been on the record. I think there was one interview I saw where he just talked about Reggie Chaney, for years, and who he was in the program and how he had to work for every minute. He really had to carve out a role by crashing the offensive glass, and it's to the point where I've never seen a college basketball player play harder than he did. Diving for balls. It would take 3 to 4 guys to box him out. Yeah, he just had a motor like nobody I've seen in a maybe I can't think of anyone at the college level. Like he embodies everything that college basketball is about. Just carving out a role for yourself, earning minutes, and just doing the things that impress coaches. So my prayers are with his family and Kelvin as well.
Yeah, he was set to begin his pro career like next week. So yeah, really really sad news. But moving on into the actual notes of the podcast. Yeah, as I mentioned before, it's our Big West preview episode, as you would probably see in the title. But yeah, so first I'm going to list off some things about the league last year. It was ranked the 15th best conference in Ken Palm. UC Irvine, they were the regular season champions. UC Santa Barbara, they won the conference tournament championship and lost to Baylor in the first round as a 14 seed. The all conference members from last year, we will release our upcoming previews, but from last year, these are where the guys were. AJ Mitchell, who was the player of the year, is back at UC Santa Barbara. DJ Davis from UC Irvine transferred to Butler. Elijah Pepper from UC Davis is back at UC Davis. Zion Poland from UC Riverside transferred to Florida. Lucina Traore is back at Long Beach State. And Latrell Wrightsell Jr. transferred to Alabama. That's the first team. And on the second team, Dawson Baker from UC Irvine transferred to BYU. Flynn Cameron from UC Riverside exhausts his eligibility. Jovan McClanahan for Hawaii is back at Hawaii. Miles Norris from UC Santa Barbara is out of eligibility. And Bryce Pope from UC San Diego is returning to UC San Diego. New coaches into the league is there's only one this conference, and it is Andy Newman from Cal State Northridge. Comes over from Cal State San Bernardino, where he built a very dominant D2 team, and he replaces Trent Johnson, who was fired. But yeah, so after running that down, are we ready to get into our all conference teams?
Might as well. There's a lot of talent in this conference still, so might as well get into it.
There is. I'm a Big West fan. It's I definitely enjoyed watching a lot
Always.
of these teams in the conference. There was a good like top like half, and then the bottom like there was a clear separation of teams last year, but the the top portion were definitely fun to watch, and I think it will be
Yeah,
like
the
that
top
again.
6 to 7 were fun.
Like
After 6 and 7, you knew that
there was
there
a
was a big
huge gap
drop
between
off,
7 and 8. Like I was looking at it earlier, and I think it was
Oh,
over like
huge.
100 spots on Ken Palm between 7 and 8, and like a 5 game spots in the
Yeah, and I mean
standings.
1 through 7, like 1 through 7 played everyone close. Like no one blew out anybody one
Hmm.
through seven, really. I mean, Long
Yes.
Beach could play with Irvine, and it
Hmm.
was so fun. I don't think we're gonna see that to the same extent this year,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
we'll
But
see.
first of all, we are going to name our player of the year. In our first team, I have AJ Mitchell. I'm assuming you do as
Yep. See.
well. Yeah. That's just almost kind of a given, but not completely a given because the other player that I'm sure we both have on our first team is Elijah Pepper, who is yeah, obviously you have him, but he is a
Yeah,
very
the
good
thing is,
player
if
as
he
well,
wants to win Player of the Year, like they might have to finish over Santa Barbara. That
or at
often
least like
goes into
close enough.
a huge
And he
stacking.
has to, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, those are the
Which I
two
don't
best
see. Like,
players. And yeah, I think those two players are
mhm,
clearly above like the rest. Like,
head and shoulders.
yes, easily. Those two of the best players in, no, I don't want to say two of the best players in college basketball, but definitely in the mid-major world. And these are two players that returned to their school despite a lot of the mid-major stars entering the portal, which we do like to see players return to their school, like to see the
Hmm.
mid-major guys realize that sometimes the grass isn't always greener. And yeah, so continuing on with our first team, how do you want to do this now that we're going to have a little bit different responses?
So, I mean, yeah, we have Mitchell and Pepper, right? I mean,
Yes,
that's a
yes.
given. So at my soft small forward, I have Noel Coleman from Hawaii. He's returning. He's again, I'm probably a little undersized for the three, but he'll also be running the three for Hawaii as well. So might as well keep him there.
Yes, I had a different Hawaii member on my first team. I had Jovan McClanahan, who is their point guard. He's one of the returning all conference guys from last year, as I mentioned. I think he's just like kind of the leader of this team, which is why I chose him. But Hawaii is a very balanced team, I would say. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I did have Coleman on my second team. I'll just list it off now instead of later. But yes. Um, so I
Yep,
believe
same.
we,
I have Jovan on my.
okay. So yeah, I believe we both have Lucina Traore on our first team from Long Beach State,
Mm-hmm.
can really rebound the ball. Um,
Yeah, rebounding
yeah, one
monster.
of
He's one of the best
the,
rebounders in college basketball, without
for
a doubt.
sure. Really had an impressive season last year after doing like nothing at St. Louis, but yeah, he was really good.
That's not a common theme. Good
All right,
old
so
St. Louis.
yeah, they've been having an interesting offseason, but who do you have as your final member
For
of
sure.
the first team?
So I have someone taking a little bit of a step up this year. I think a lot's going to be asked of Morsek this year, especially protecting the rim. I think he's going to get, they have they have a true point guard in Matthew Cotton, who's probably going to get him a lot of looks. I think that's something that Hawaii kind of lacked last year, was like a distributing point guard. Like I think McClanahan and Coleman are both scoring first guards. They needed a true facilitator at guard, and I think a part of that can be to get more Sec involved more in the offense, like get him in lob spots, get him in post scoring spots. So I think not only is he going to be amazing defensively like he's always been, I think he's going to score a little bit more than he has recently as well. So
Yeah, definitely would be a big jump for him, but he is huge. Definitely has the
7-2.
tools. Yes, he is big and could be in for a huge sophomore leap. Um, I will disagree with you though, because I think McClanahan is a pure point guard. I think you were mixing those guys up a little. McClanahan is he had like a 28% assist rate in conference play. So
We'll see. We'll see. I
yeah,
mean, I think a lot of it was why he had who was that other guard they had last year who was pretty good, who scored a lot for him. So
um,
They
Let
had
me
him
see.
last year. He was pretty good. He was definitely maybe a forward.
Hepa,
He's like
Kamaka
6'8",
Hepa.
but he had guard
Yeah.
skills.
Yeah, he did. He's
Kamari
K-
Hepa, yeah.
Kamaka Hepa, yeah.
No, he was a key. No, I definitely feel like Jovan is gonna have to be more of a scorer this year. I feel like Cotton's gonna bring, kind of, the fact that he can be a pure point guard could bring a different dimension to their offense. Because Hawaii definitely, what's held them back the last couple of years is offensively they have these good players, but they struggle to score the ball like a good bit. Like their offense gets stagnant, it doesn't move a lot. I feel like they can definitely tap into another spot offensively, and that's what they're going to need to if they want to win this conference. So I feel like bringing in a pure point guard to kind of, I don't know, switch up the offense a little bit might help them to get to that next level offensively, because defensively they're awesome. Like they're not going to get any better on defense. They're great. So that's where they got to improve, and maybe bringing in that pure PG is what's going to improve them. So
Yeah. At my the fifth member of my first team is UC Irvine big man Bent Lupton. Might have pronounced that wrong,
oh yeah,
but
he's
yeah,
good.
he is good. He is was a very efficient player. Did not play that many minutes last year.
I
I
loved
mean,
him.
he was a starter, but
He was hurt
didn't
too, right?
I don't remember. But he is
I feel like there's like a middle section of the see play.
I don't recall if he was, but yeah, he was super efficient. If he gets more minutes, he could really like
Oh,
dominate, I think, quite frankly. Um yeah,
definitely.
moving on to our
Good.
second team. I have Bryce Pope. Do you have Bryce Pope on your second team?
I
Yes.
do. Yep.
Yeah, he was there last year.
Follower of
Can
my page. Yeah.
he can really score the ball, really the team success
I like him.
is what it's gonna come
He's
down
really
to.
good. For sure.
Yes, he is. All right. Well, do you want to list another member of your second
So I
team?
have Jovan as my two.
Okay.
And then I have another UC San Diego member as my small forward at Francis Nayu Koe. I think he's really good. I
You
think on
might
both
have botched
ends.
that
He
name.
averaged.
You
I
might have
mean, how
botched
the
it.
hell do I pronounce his last name?
I don't know. I remember watching. I remember like knowing it, but then I forgot it. I don't think that was it though.
It's.
Um,
I mean, of course it's not. I mean, just look at it. It's impossible to
I think it's
pronounce.
like Nicoria or something.
Ah,
Something like
so the
that.
W is silent. Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, so he averaged like 15 a game last year, good efficiency. He's got good size. So, when it came to the three, I kind of went with him.
Yes, I am a really big fan of his personally. I did not have him on my second team. I didn't want to put two UC San Diego guys, but like he was a guy that was right there. Like I almost even consider him for first team, honestly.
Yeah,
But
you
like
can,
like
man.
I am really big on him as well. So like he was probably my next guy in consideration. But I had Max Jones from Cal State Fullerton on there. Really ended the year strong, and he's the guy that'll be being like the scoring guy this year instead of Wright. So like he can fully take over, and I think he can establish himself as a number one option on Cal State Fullerton. So
If Cal State Fullerton's athletic program's listening, maybe you should get your 2023-24 roster up. The
yes,
season starts in a month, and
yes. Well,
I
not
have
not a
the
month, a few months though.
few months, and I'm still looking at the 2022-23 roster from last year and trying to
Yes.
see who's coming back. I mean, at this point, every team should have, and they do. Most of them do, even the
Hmm.
mid-major ones that aren't good at updating. Like, but at that point, like that website designer's got to get a grip, man. I don't know.
Yes,
Anyway,
it is like late August. So there's no reason not to have your roster uploaded. I mean, everyone's roster is at least
right.
somewhat complete. I mean, obviously there's
Don't have to be
people.
exactly right, but
No, I mean you can just add delayed additions, but like everyone has
exactly.
a foundation for the roster at least. And I believe we have the same two members left in
Traore and
Abubakar Traore and Johan Traore.
Yeah.
The Traore is composed of 30% of all conference teams. The three of them combined. But yeah, Abubakar Traore from Long Beach State is he won the Big West Hustle Player of the Year or something like that, which is an interesting award. But if there was an award that he would get, it would definitely be that. Really can get some rebounds. Really almost like an undersized big, but like is
Yeah,
good
I
at
mean,
it.
Long Beach was like top 5 in the country in rebounding, and you can see
Yeah.
why. Like,
Hmm.
they have literally two of the best rebounders in all of college basketball, and that's how they really competed last year. They were a really weird team. They had good shot creating guards, but they didn't take a lot of threes. They loved the mid range. They loved to crash the glass, get second chance points. So I don't know if they'll be that way this year, but we'll see. I mean, maybe they will. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're an interesting team for sure.
Yeah, and then to touch on Johan Troyer a bit, obviously former 5 star, was a 5 star last year, so it's not like he was a 5 star a long time ago and is not good. Like he is, I think, still pretty good. So
Oh, for sure.
transfer from Auburn has a lot of potential, a lot of minutes to fill, quite frankly, in that front court. But yeah,
Hmm.
that gives us a great segue into our top five transfers, where we both have him as one, so we don't need to talk about that.
Bingo
But
free space.
yes. The second one I have Jalen Cooper is a transfer from Palm Beach Atlantic headed to Cal State Fullerton. Really put up some good numbers there, like 17 points, 9 rebounds. Was the defensive player of the year in his conference. Really had some defensive upside. Can do a little bit of everything. Was an efficient scorer. So obviously, there's always questions about how those guys are going to translate, but I really
He
like
seems like
him.
one of the good ones for sure.
Yeah, has some
Especially
good
with
size.
he's good on both ends as well as good
Hmm.
size. So those are the type of guys that usually
Yeah.
translate. So at number two, I Quincy McGriff, from Duquesne. He's at Cal State Northridge, who, all things considered, new coach, things like that, like they've turned over a much better roster than last year. We'll say that. Are they still good? Are they still 10th in the conference? Yeah, but I think McGriff is probably their number one guy. He's a lot of shot creating skills. I liked him a lot at Duquesne last year, so I think Northridge got some good talent there.
Yeah. In the three spot, I have Ben Stolzberg, who is also going to UC Santa Barbara. Transfer from Creighton, was a highly ranked recruit, like 4 star, I think, in the 2022 class. Didn't really play at Creighton, but really can score the ball. And I think we will start to actually see some of that abilities at UC Santa Barbara.
Is he a forward? Right.
No, he's a guard.
Okay, then he'll
He's like a
definitely play.
2. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because UC Santa Barbara's got a lot of forwards on the roster. Like, it's going to be hard for some of those forwards to get minutes. No, if he's a guard, he's definitely going to get time off the bench. So it's a good pick.
Yes. Who do you have in
I have
your three
Jalen
spot?
Cooper at three.
Okay.
We already went over him, but at
Yes.
four, I have Issa Silva, Stanford
Okay.
legend. Jared Haas alum. So obviously there's red flags all over that, but he's a former 5 star. And I just want to kind of look at, all the guards that have come from good programs that have transferred to Long Beach State and been successful. You look at Marcus Shoshonis from VCU, had an absolute career year last year, even though if he was a little inefficient, dropped 50 last year in a game. You could just tell, he was given a lot more freedom. Long Beach has a lot of freedom in their offense to begin with. Like, they let their guards create, right? And I think,
Yes.
and they run up and down. I think Issa Silva is going to thrive with that. Like, I definitely feel like he can be a good floor general for them. There definitely going to be some growing pains with him, but, what a more talented guy to trust than Issa Silva. He's got some for sure. So I'll put
Yes.
him at four.
Yeah. I had him in my 5 spot for the same reasons. He was questionable on defense, but
Yeah.
that is going to be less of an issue moving down a
You look
level.
at
And he's
guys like young guards to like AJ George and other guys like that. They had another guard who's still good. Who's there? I forget his name.
I mean, Jonas is still there.
George
Um,
is there. The other guy I think transferred to Oakland, right?
yeah, Tone Hunter.
Yeah, he was good too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Jaden Jones might be you're thinking
Oh
of.
yeah, Jaden Jones is he was hurt all last year, so hopefully he's back.
Okay. But yeah, at number four spot, I have Tyler McGee, UC San Diego transfer. He can really shoot the ball, played in a good D2 team, Southern Nazarene. Um, yeah, I think he's UC San Diego brought in a good D2 transfer class, and I think he's the best player out of the three. So yeah, let's see, you still have your five to wait. Yeah, right?
Oh yeah, I have Matthew Cotton, who I kind of talked about earlier. He's from Yale. He's not someone who got a lot of time at Yale because Yale has terrific guards, as you went over today. Like, there's not a lot of minutes for guards on Yale. Was he hurt last year at all, or just didn't play?
Uh, I don't know if he was hurt or not, but whatever it was, he didn't play. So
Right.
he
I
might
mean,
just like not been with the team at all last year.
right. Yeah. So, he gets a fresh start here. Probably will get an opportunity because Hawaii's depth at guard isn't great. But I think they're gonna play him next to Cotton. I mean, McClanahan and Colton and Coleman. So I think they're gonna play him next to those two, and have him kind of bring a different dimension to the offense instead of running, a 5'11". I mean, he's pretty undersized too. So, from what I can remember, but obviously McClanahan's 5'10". He gets after it defensively, but I definitely think they're gonna benefit from having a little more size in the backcourt with Cotton as well. So, and plus the passing dimension that I was adding earlier, maybe it gets McClanahan some more open looks instead of a lot of contested ones that he had to take with Coleman last year. So
Yes. Moving on to our three breakout players in the conference. One of mine was Coat Keat Tong for UC Santa Barbara,
yeah,
former decently ranked recruit, and with the eligibilities exhausted of Miles Norris and Andre Kelly, he's a guy that could actually like play and really get minutes next to Traore in the front court. So I think he will have a big jump there. Who is
yeah.
one of your breakout guys?
So since Kelly and Norris exhausted eligibility, he actually does have minutes. Regarding what I said earlier, that they don't have a ton of depth there. So number one, I have Francisco Bora from UC Davis. UC Davis last year they like to run small, which is not something I loved. I feel like this year with Bora's development, him getting a year older, I think he's going to be ready to start some games for sure. They're going to run him. He's 6'11". He's a pretty good defender. He's pretty good on the boards. He played, I think, 15 or 20 minutes a game last year. Not a ton, but I feel like he's going to get a bit of a jump this year and get some minutes for a really improved UC Davis team.
Okay. Yeah, they definitely have the spot at center for
For sure.
whoever wants to take it. So yeah, I have Justin Hahn, whatever, for UC Irvine as one of my guys. He wasn't super efficient last year, but is also a guy that just he's a shot taker. So, and with UC Irvine, they obviously don't have Davis or Baker in the backcourt. So I think he's a guy who could just end up scoring a ton of points, which is
Yeah,
why I
he
have him.
frustrated me a bit last year. He was really inefficient. His shot
Yeah.
quality was really off. But again, this year I feel like it's going to help him. Those two guys moving out, and him and oh gosh, I'm just so bad with names. The UNLV guy, Tilling, right?
Hillis.
Tillis. There we go. Him and Tillis are going to be the top two guys. So, he's going to get more shots. Hopefully, they're good shots. But yeah, no, he's definitely going to be taking a step up in production. So
Yes.
for me, number two, I have a team that we haven't really talked about at all, and a team that's definitely flying under the radar a little bit this year is Cal State Bakersfield. I have Kasim Watson. He's somebody who I think I might have even played with him against him 1 year, 2018. I think he came the year after I graduated, but he's from the Philadelphia Catholic League from West Catholic, who's gotten really good in basketball the last couple of years. Him and his twin brother at Cal State Bakersfield. His twin Kareem Watson redshirted last year. They're two very dynamic guards, really quick off the dribble, really good defenders. They're three-level games, developing a little bit. Not amazing three-point shooters, but they're really good from the mid-range. And that's something Cal State Bakersfield looks for is fast-paced guards. You know, they love their press. They press like they quarter court press with their coach. They love defensive pressure. They do love their guards that, you know, can't shoot threes and, you know, love the mid-range. It seems to be a theme that they've gone with recently. So but they're really talented guys, and I feel like both of them are going to have big roles this year. But I'm going with Kasim because he played last year while his brother redshirted. So, you know, obviously it helps. You know, the coach knows what you're going to get from one of them. So,
Yes. For my third breakout player, I have Nate Pickens from UC Riverside. He didn't really see a ton of playing time last year, but he's fairly athletic, just a guard that didn't play much last year because UC Riverside, someone's gonna break out on UC
yeah, I
Riverside.
mean, they have
I'm
so many, especially the front court. Like, you
mhm.
look at Tattersall as a name that jumped out to me, but he played a lot. But like again, he was not part of the offense at all, like you were
Yeah,
saying.
I don't really trust a guy like him to just like be the leading scorer.
Of
Not
course,
like I trust Pickens to do so, but I think Pickens is a guy that
he'll definitely
like
be
I mean
second or
I
third.
I don't know if he's the guy that will break out, but like there's someone on the team, so I just went with him. Um, yeah,
Of course, I get that. And then for three, which makes sense of my first team selection, I picked Morissette.
yeah.
Like when I went over earlier, you can refer to what I said earlier about him, but you know, he's a really good rim protector, and I think again, he's got a lot of offensive talent for sure there that they can tap into.
Um, freshman of the year, I have UC Santa Barbara guard Jason Fontenette. Is a like combo guard, but he also has some size, so he can probably play 1 through 3. I'm thinking. There's a little bit of minutes available there in the backcourt, depending on the house, and obviously not with AJ Mitchell, but sort of 2 and 3, depending how some things play out. So I think he's a guy that could see some minutes right away,
For
potentially.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, with UC Santa Barbara, they just bring in so much talent. Like their
Hmm.
coach is so good at, you know, finding talent at the front court, at the back court. Like they'll always have guys that can play. I have Jurian Dixon from UC Irvine. Again, like we were saying, there's gonna be minutes available on Irvine, especially in the backcourt. You know, obviously you have Tillis, who's probably going to be more of a three, maybe. I mean, they'll probably start him at the two, but he could definitely combo. He's pretty big, so they also have Justin Holmes, so he's going to be one of the guards to probably start. But then, like you look at past those two guys, like it's all freshmen and other guards, and Jurian Dixon is the one that jumped off the page to me too. He had some good numbers at his previous destination, which I believe is a D2
No,
or
he's a
high school,
freshman.
freshman,
Yeah.
high school.
We're
Yeah,
doing
no.
freshman of the year.
Oh, that's true. There you go. Oh, of course. So no, went to like some St. Augustine High School, I think it was in California. And he put up really good numbers there. He's 6'5". You know, I always look for guards that have good size, good strength. And he brings both of those. So I wouldn't even think it'd be the craziest thing if he starts a couple games for them, and
For
if
sure.
they want to slot Tillis to the three, like I said. You know, he's definitely going to play a lot for sure. And you know, there's always seems to be, you know, that one guy that always just emerges for Irvine. So he could be that guy.
He definitely could be that guy. Yeah, some other guys I had under consideration where I was strongly considering him as well, and Darren Sarin from UC Irvine, and also Kendrick DeLuna from Cal State Fullerton were kind of the guys I was debating between, but those are all of our awards. So we are going to individually break down every team in the conference, starting from the worst team in the conference last year up to the best. So finishing 11th was Cal
I
Poly.
might as well. I mean, I
Um,
remember I wrote that paragraph. Like,
yeah, they're not going to be good this year. I'm assuming you have them finishing 11th this year as
yeah,
well.
yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
there's no way you can't have them finishing 11th this year. This team is going to be terrible.
I mean, they always
Uh,
are, but this is a whole new terrible. I
yeah,
feel like
there is no way head coach John Smith still has a job after this season,
no
quite
way.
frankly, unless they win somehow, which I don't see happening.
They did somehow beat Long Beach in the conference tournament
Yeah,
last year, which is
Long Beach
most.
is like that.
They are though,
They could
exactly. If
win
there's any
against anyone
team
and
that
also
would have
lose to
pulled
any.
that crap, I'm not surprised it was Long
Yeah,
Beach. But
yeah, but yeah, Cal Poly, there's just nothing really to be excited about here.
they lost Brantley Stevenson to Cal
And
Baptist.
who's the other guy? They lost Alamami Kuroma to Portland, who was like their big guy that was decent. They
Hmm.
even lost some other decent guys like Chance Hunter and Trevon Taylor, who's lost their eligibility. I mean, those guys weren't that good, but they don't have anyone good coming back or coming in. Like their best
Paul
player is
Bazema is like their highlight transfer, and he's from EIU, Eastern Illinois,
yeah,
Iowa's father.
it's
So,
yeah,
that's their highlight.
their best player is probably Kobe Sanders, I
Yeah, that's
guess.
what I was saying.
Maybe we
Or
get like a
Franklin.
maybe we get a Jared Hyder resurgence. Maybe like maybe one of these JUCO guys are decent. I mean, they're coming from decent JUCOs, but like they're also
Isaac Spears is the one guy that actually did jump out at me. He's a red shirt from Montana State. He had some good
yes.
size to him. And honestly, he was out last season, so we have no clue what he'll be. So, you know what? That's probably some room for excitement if you don't know what to expect from a red
Yeah,
shirt.
that would be yeah, it's at least something you can come into the year like somewhat excited about the possibility
All right.
because there's not much else to really be
I
excited
remember
about with
watching
this
some Cal
team.
Poly games last year. Their announcers, they're passionate. I don't know how they stick through it, but man, they got another awful year
It's
headed
gonna
their
be
way.
tough.
So
But okay, so you think they would have money though? Like Cal, wouldn't you think? I mean, not like
they're a technology school, correct?
you think they could get some NIL,
Right.
like
No, of
I know that
course.
school seems. I mean, I don't know for sure, but
It's
it
not the
seems like
worst school in the world. It's a nice
there's a
campus from what I know.
there's a lot of money in the school. I mean,
It
there
just
definitely
doesn't
a
go towards athletics.
there's
That's
got to
the
be a
thing.
lot of rich alums.
Right. What happens with a lot of schools, and this is not just a mid-major problem, it's not money, it's the money and how it's allocated, right?
Mm,
It's where the money's put.
yes.
A lot of these schools have the money. They have different priorities, right? And obviously Cal Poly is an academic school. It's
Mhm.
it's a big technology school, I believe, in Cali. I forget where it is in Cali, but I know it's literally Cal Poly for technology. So all their money is probably just going towards state of the art technology, right?
Well,
It's not going into
it
basketball.
sure isn't going to NIL because they
No,
weren't able to get anyone. So yeah, we don't really have to say more about them. They're going to be terrible. Don't watch Cal Poly this season unless you.
they're announcers.
I might have to watch a game to hear announcers. Now you're
They're
saying
pretty
this.
fun. I
Yeah.
watched that game against Weber State last year. It was fun. Weber State blew them out, of course, but you
I
gotta
mean,
watch
most
Brian Penn Johnson, man.
he. I thought he wasn't back though. I thought he
Oh,
would
it's
be
true. He's
back,
not on the
but
roster.
he's not that good anyway. But yeah,
Last chance you legend. Yeah.
he's been terrible ever. Like
He's
no
awful,
offense to him, but
man.
like he hasn't been good anywhere. Like he
No.
was. I mean, he was at high major schools before, but like it's
In
not like he was.
Washington, yeah.
He was at LSU for a little bit too, but
Was he? I didn't know that.
I don't know if he played. He's kind of done
He's like a
nothing.
big that just doesn't have any
Yeah,
fundamental skills. No fine motor
that's a good way
skills.
to explain it. But yeah,
Can't catch the ball. Yeah, I'll stop.
okay, yeah, we can we can stop with that. But you're not wrong. But we can move on to Cal State Northridge, who although they were also terrible last year, there was definitely reason to be excited about them.
Yeah, they're definitely on a whole different planet than Cal Poly, I feel like when it comes to excitement. The
Yeah,
reason I
I
say
mean
that is there's players I recognize. Um,
And
And
they made the right move. They got a new coach this offseason when they were
right,
terrible. Something that Cal Poly should take notes about.
right.
But yeah, like
And
they were.
Northridge is another school that has a lot of academic money, right? They used to actually bring in a lot of talent. It used to be pretty good, if I'm not mistaken, in the Big West.
They had
What's
what was his name? Lamine Diane, or you remember who I'm talking about? Lamine Diane or
Northridge?
whatever. He played it. I think he played there like 3 years ago. He was really good. Like
No,
he was
Northridge has a
one of the
really good
best
program
players.
now.
He went pro after he was yeah, he won Big West Player of the Year as a freshman and sophomore.
Oh,
And remember he averaged like 25 like in 10. Like
jeez.
he do you not remember him?
No, I mean, I would watch
I
here
feel I
and
feel like
there.
some players start to slip out of my knowledge after a few years,
Of
but
course, right?
he was good. He was good. He could have
But
been
yeah, no, it
four-time
won't
all
take long
coach.
for Northridge to be a pretty good program in this conference again. I really don't think so. They have, Quincy McGriff from Duquesne. They have Gianni Hunt, Oregon State legend. He's one of the last few guys from the really good Elite Eight team. I believe he was on that roster too.
I think he
I think
was,
he
yeah.
was he was a freshman off the bench or something that got a couple minutes here and there, but like he's got good experience. He's definitely a good guy to bring in. He's gonna probably start. So yeah. They also no, that was my notes for another team, but I feel like they're pretty good. I just feel like they could probably finish over Riverside, maybe. I mean, look, I don't think the gap is that big between 10
Yeah.
through 7. 7 through 10
Where'd
is
you have them this year? I forgot to ask that. Where do you have them in your rankings this year?
Northridge.
Yes.
I have 10. Yeah.
Okay. I have them at ninth.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, like you get Deontay Bostic back from the portal, like Deshaun Allen back. Like those are players you would want back from last year's team. Obviously,
But again, I could have
Hunt,
them finishing
McGriff.
behind Riverside, and they probably will. Like, I mean, Riverside is really bad. Like, they lost everybody.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and I really like Andy Newman. Is really what it comes down to. I think he's like
Hmm.
a good coach
For
for
sure.
the going forward for the program. So I definitely made the right hire this offseason. But moving forward to UC San Diego, who finished ninth in the conference last year. Kyle, where do you have them this year?
So I have them sixth. They're returning a lot. They're returning again. Follow the page. Bryce Pope, who's awesome, great player. He can really score the ball. He was pretty efficient with how many shots he took last year too. He had some really big games. He's a knack for scoring the ball. He's really crafty. And then they have Francis as well, who they got back. He's gonna be again their co-star. The thing with UC San Diego last year, and they you would think with those two guys they wouldn't be that bad. But they played a couple teams close. Defensively, they need work. But I think they finally have some big guys this year. I think that was a big thing. They were starting like a 6'7", 6'8" center, which is not gonna fly at any college division, especially in D1. And the Big West has a lot of good bigs. So I feel like you said, they have those D2 guys, and some of them were front court guys, if I'm not mistaken. So they're going to have some guys they can go to at center here. They
Yeah.
bring back, uh, yeah, I was intrigued with Cade Pendleton. He's a red shirt.
Yes,
He's
yes, yes.
6'11". I think he's going to definitely get minutes at center. He
Probably
was
more of like a four, I think. I don't think he's
was
like
he
super
stretched
big.
the floor? Okay,
I
yeah.
think so. I mean, I think they're good at center, but they still have Emmanuel Shamanga,
He's like
who
6'8", who's physical, right?
I think he might be even bigger now. Like he's a
Oh,
big
okay.
guy, I think.
Oh,
Let me look up his height. But yeah, they also have Jaron Brooks, who should be healthy now. I think he was
right.
hurt.
I mean, this team has a lot of potential. That's why they didn't really go out like getting anybody big from the portal or anybody from a
Well,
a
they got
Power
some
Five
big gets from
school.
the portal.
That's true.
They got some good D2. Yeah. Shamanga is huge. He's 7 foot 300. No, it's
Oh,
270 listed now. He's a big guy.
All right. Well, there's our center, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but as I mentioned earlier, Tyler McGee can really shoot a ball, can
Yeah,
score the
honestly.
ball.
They
They
need
got
like off-ball players next to Francis and
mm,
Bryce, and I feel like he's one of them. I think they could finish even higher than sixth
hmm
personally. I just have them right under Irvine, and the reason I do is because Irvine's coach is so good. Yeah, and the reason
yeah.
is they've been there. Um, I just don't know if I trust UC San Diego's coach to make that big of a jump yet.
Yeah.
So I
I
have
think
them
you're
sit
okay. I think your top 7 to 8 is like really good in
really
the
good
rotation
for
because I
sure.
have like they have some really good D2 guys. I have Hayden Gray starting at point guard for them. He's a D2 transfer he's solid like point guard. Obviously you got Pope, McGee, Nick Nukorie, Shimanga, Niwa Tate Jones from Hawaii Hilo is a really skilled
I
forward,
saw
can
him.
kind
Yeah.
of do a little bit of everything. Yeah, really skilled. Should be able to make the jump. He could be the sixth man. Could insert himself in the starting lineup, and like they could play big somehow. And then Jerron Brooks, obviously a former high major guy, he can play. So yeah, those are some really solid guys. The reason I wasn't higher on them is because I was kind of high on them last year, and then they kind of sucked. But
Yeah, no, I could definitely see why anyone was high on them last year and they fell apart, but I feel like they have enough guys that are healthy now to where I don't think they'll flop as much. I'm not going to go all in on them because honestly, they could finish fourth if they wanted to. Like fourth through six is really close for
mm,
me.
yes.
But I'm going to have them six and play it a little safe.
Yeah, moving forward to Cal State Bakersfield, who finished eighth last season. Where do you have them ranked this
So
season?
I have them seventh. I have them right after UCSD.
I
Uh,
have them at 10th. I'm not really
yeah,
loving this
I
team.
mean there's not a lot I like there. There's a lot of guys that I think have. I mean, the Watson twins. I saw somebody
Yeah,
else from there. I think they have somebody from Creighton too, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
Modesta Clancheris.
He's like
He,
6'9",
yeah,
right?
he's a big man,
He
four or
seems
five.
solid at least. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's all right. I think he was hurt towards the end of last year, but hopefully healthy now.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the players in their team. Like, I sort of like Cameron Wilbon as a transfer, but I also don't really think they're going to get that much better than last year. I mean, Antavian Collin was pretty decent, and they
The
still
reason I
weren't
had them
good.
at seven, and I'll be honest, is because I didn't have access to Fullerton's roster. So I kind of had to. I looked at Vincent Lee gone. I looked at Wrightsell gone. I looked at all
Lee
those
is
guys.
isn't Lee back? I had him back.
They had him as a senior on the website again. I mean, I didn't
Let me
see if he was
see.
a fifth
Let's
year.
use okay. We can talk about him and research that when we get into Cal Poly. But
Okay,
yeah,
but I would have had
um,
Fullerton higher if I had some knowledge on him, which I didn't. So I actually put Fullerton at eight. So we'll get into that, which I know you'll have them higher than me. So um, I have Bakersfield at seven, which is a bit bold, but I think we also need to look into. I think their coach is on the hot seat. I think he really needs to start performing. He hasn't performed in a while there. I forget his name. Um,
uh, who is their coach? I have no
he's been
clue,
there a long
honestly.
time, and they have a really unique defense and style that you have to prepare for. Like
It's Rod Barnes. Rod
Rod
Barnes.
Barnes said they do the 3/4 court press. They'll press you all game. They have their style of basketball, but it just doesn't. It hasn't worked in a while,
Yeah,
man.
at the end of the day, they're just like less talented than the
If
rest of the
there's one
league.
coach that is like closest to getting fired, like I would definitely look at Bakersfield's coach as that.
Maybe John Smith should get fired
Oh
first.
well, he's a given. Again, bingo free space.
Yeah.
He's gone. But besides him, right?
Yes. Let's see. Moving forward to Long Beach State, who finished seventh last year, there was a huge gap between seventh and eighth in the conference,
Mhm.
5 games and like 100 spots in Ken Palm, I believe.
Right.
Um, yeah. So where do you have Long Beach State this year?
So now I'm notoriously someone who hypes Long Beach a lot. I didn't hype them a ton last year. I have them fourth this year.
Okay,
I
I
think
have them fifth. So
okay, so I think they're gonna have Jaden Jones back. One of the Jones, they had those. Didn't they have like O's Murray who was hurt last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's
That's
gone now.
He's
He's gone
gone.
now.
So that's
He
that's
was
gonna
really
hurt.
good.
He was. If they had him come back last year, they would have been a much different team. And he re-injured himself for some reason, and then he sat out the
Yeah.
whole year.
Mm.
So he's gone. They do have Jaden Jones, who was solid. He has his games. Shoshonis is going to be good for them. AJ George is definitely due for a big season for them. So I do like their guards. I think their guards
I
have a lot of
mean,
upside.
their forwards are really good too. It's a
And
Traore.
obviously, the forwards we've talked about a lot here. So they have great post scoring abilities. They're great on the glass. Like they have all the tools, and you got Issa Silva. And the thing with Long Beach is they do bring in a lot of guard talent. So I don't know who they've really bought in off the top of my head as far as freshmen go,
I
but
mean, they
there's
also got Messiah Thompson from Alabama
that's
A&M.
right.
He can shoot the ball.
Yeah, that's true. No, I watched a little bit of Alabama A&M last year, admittedly, so he was decent. He had his games. I don't know why I watched them, but I found myself watching them a couple times. So
Yeah, he can shoot though. This team is very talented, but talent hasn't exactly been an issue for them the past few
nah,
years.
it
It's more
has
of but they have the talent to win the league or at least get close, you
for
could say.
sure, for
But
sure.
and the top of the Big West is like really close. Like a lot of these teams,
It is.
I think are very close. Yeah, moving forward to the sixth place team last year, which was UC Davis. Where do you have them this year?
So I have UC Davis third. Um, I
As do
have
I.
them. I have them third. Again, it's a roster I think we both really like. A guy they don't Ty Johnson is really underrated. He's a Loyola Chicago transfer from 2 years ago. He played
Hmm.
really well last year. He averaged 14 a game. He's a supporting cast guy that gets overlooked. He's really good next to Elijah Pepper. Kane Milling can stretch the floor a bit. He's solid. UC Davis also bought in, a lot of, and they've Leo DeBrule as well, who can shoot the ball a little bit, who's solid. They have him. They have Aid Adebayo, who really is their do-it-all guy at 6'5". He's a good defender, good hustler. He
He
does a lot
plays
of
like
things
the
on the
1 through
floor.
5. Like
Right, I
he
know
can
he's
play
really
any.
weird. And they have Nico Rocock from what's it called? Wasn't he from UC San Diego his freshman year? I
Maybe.
remember
I mean,
UCSD had
they had
him.
Tony Roca.
Tony, yeah, that's right. I
Uh,
always get them confused too.
yeah.
Um,
Honestly, with UC Davis, like I'm not really sold in the roster. I'm just sold on their backcourt, which is amazing, and I'm just hoping that everything else figures itself out because this is a good backcourt. Elijah Pepper is obviously amazing. Ty Johnson struggle with efficiency at times, but he's still someone that's like a really good second option there in the backcourt. So
yeah, I
I'm
mean
just rolling with
their
them.
front court has a little, I think they can figure themselves out with Bora and
Yeah, a lot
Roca.
more players here trusting on to make jumps, but
Right. Last year that front court was a mess. So at least this year there's hopefully, some guys that work into their roles.
yeah. Moving forward, Hawaii finished fifth last year in conference play, and I have them sitting at second. Where do you have them? You have them at second as well.
I do. I have
Yeah,
them at second.
yeah, I like this team. I like Iran Gannat and his defensive schemes. A really interesting style of defense. Like they always are like one of the top teams in the country and like not allowing other teams to get assists or 3 pointers.
They
Um,
close out really hard.
yes, yes,
They have great length at a lot of positions. Again, Kamara Hepa was really big for them defensively last year. He could
yes.
switch on the multiple guys. So he's a bit of a loss there. But again, Justin McCoy, I think, can play a similar role. He's got that same
Yeah.
switch ability. He's pretty big. Maybe he's not as quick. Things like that. But
Is Justin McCoy like good? Like, is there any like confirmation that he's a good basketball player?
that's the thing. Like,
Has he
I
just
just
been like faking himself into like sitting on the bench at like good teams? Because every
yeah,
time he's in the game, he does nothing. Like he doesn't like he's not like terrible. He just doesn't do anything. Like
I'm not
he's just
entirely
out there.
convinced on him either. I hate giving guys the North Carolina card, but I'm kind of giving him the North Carolina card in a sense of, but the Big West is still a good conference, so like he still has to be a pretty good player, right?
Yeah.
And obviously Hawaii doesn't have that same front court depth, so he's going to have a big role if all things considered. So, um, he's going to no excuses this year for sure. So,
Yeah. One storyline that I'm really interested for this Hawaii team, they have Juan Munoz, who is back. He has not played there. He is on his like eighth year of college basketball, and
I saw him.
he's gotten hurt like so many times. The
Isn't he
last
the
time
6 foot midget dude?
mm,
He might be even smaller than that.
I don't think he's super tall, but he hasn't played college basketball in like 3 years.
I
He
saw
cannot
that. I was
stay.
like, I know who you're talking about. I swear.
He cannot stay. Yeah, he's 6 foot, but he cannot stay healthy if his life depended on it. He's been hurt like four
Is he any
separate
good?
seasons. Yeah, I mean, he was all conference at Longwood
That's
three
true.
years
I
ago,
saw
last time
that.
he
Yeah.
played. Yeah, I mean, he's a good player. He's a good
His
shooter.
efficiency there, I don't think looked great, but
He was a decent shooter from 3 point range.
hmm.
I
No,
mean,
he's just gotten like repeated red shirts.
yeah, they gave him the appeal was submitted and he does have an extra year of eligibility, so he is back for his like eighth season, but like
That
he's actually gotten injured so many times, which is so unfortunate. Really
sucks.
really hope he can actually play. Because
Right. I
he
mean,
is
he's going to be a good bench guard if he can, right? Like,
yeah,
and they need
obvious
depth. I think that's their biggest weakness right now is their depth. So,
yeah. And obviously we mentioned the backcourt, you have McClanahan, Coleman, those players can really play. They're proven and like you have Bernardo de Silva up front. Obviously the breakout potential and more sack is there. Um yeah, maybe Ryan Rappel is
yeah, I
healthy.
was looking at Ryan Rapp from Wazoo.
He might not have been healthy last year, but he only played in 3 games. But
And then I was looking
he
at
has moments at Wazoo.
Machia Savordovic from Portland as well.
Okay.
I don't know how decent he is, but he's got size. He's probably a stretch big of some kind. That's what I'm assuming. Because, Portland is full of everyone can shoot. So, I assume he's one of those. So maybe he's
Yes.
decent too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
They
I
have
mean,
Akira Jacobs too from the Global Academy. It kind of
they do. I
he
don't know
was
much about
intriguing
him,
to
but
me. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, definitely some intriguing talent. They did lose a few guys, but I think they also bring back enough and I like their coaching and like defensive upside enough to have them second in the conference.
Hmm.
Um moving on to the number 4 team in the conference, which was Cal State Fullerton last year. I have them sitting at 8 this year. I think you do as well.
Wow. Okay.
But
It's funny from the teams that you had some of those guys on. I was like,
I
and I
think
know
I'm too
you've
low
loved
on them.
Fullerton in the past, so I was like, does he have Fullerton high again?
I think I'm
But
too low on them, honestly. I
I have
mean,
them eighth right now too.
like that's the lowest they can go though. Like they could be anywhere from like 4 or like 3 or 4 to 8, but they're not going
Yeah,
to
I
be
guess it
worse
could
than
be three
that.
to four. I guess, yeah.
They're not going to be worse than that, but like someone has to be there
I think
because
6 through 8 is probably what I look at.
yeah, I mean Max Jones
It's
could be
true.
what Wrightsell was last year.
I don't know much about him. Where's he from?
I mean he was there last year. He was a D2 transfer from Tampa 2 years ago
Oh,
and
you know what? I did
got
see
some good
him.
interest.
He was intriguing to me. Yeah, he's from Clearwater. No, Tampa's just such a D2, like a good D2, like we've talked about. So, there's definitely a lot of upside there. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Jones was playing really good at the end of last year. Let me pull up his Ken Palm page, but yeah, I was looking at it, he was scoring like double digits like every game down the stretch
That's good.
last season. Yeah, he had like these are his last games of the season. He had 18, 14, 18, 17, 18, 18, 12,
Hey.
13, 16, 19, 16, and he had 8 and then like 18 again. But
And
yeah,
Fullerton
so
always overperforms. Like if there's one thing in the Big
yeah.
West, they've been the overperformer. So I'd probably be too low on them as well. I'll definitely move Bakersfield out of 7. So I'm gonna actually move Fullerton right now up to 7. We're just gonna
Okay.
swap Bakersfield and Fullerton right now.
Yeah, that's fair. Moving on. Let's see. Do we have anything more to say about Fullerton?
I don't think so. They have a lot of they have the one guy from Alcorn State,
Yeah,
one guy from
Dominic Bruin, all
Denise.
conference swag. They had Beryl Kabamba from Spring Hill,
Solid guys,
put up some decent stats on a pretty bad team.
Right.
Questionable efficiency, but yeah, I mean
That's what you're gonna get with
they
guys
have
like that.
some decent bench guys like Grayson Carper, John
Yeah,
Mikey Square. Um, yeah, so maybe we're too low on them, but at the same time, like
they're definitely the
there's
sleeper,
just
I feel like.
yes,
Yeah. Them
yeah.
and UCSD. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Moving forward to the third team last year was UC Riverside. They did lose a lot. I have them at 6 this season. Where do you have
I have
them?
them ninth. Yeah.
Okay, so I understand that. A lot of my
Their
reasoning is
coach
just
is very
based
good.
on I really like Mike Magpio. Like that
He
athletic
is a great
department
coach.
has like nothing. Like I remember a few years ago they were thinking about like getting rid of athletics.
I
So
remember that.
I think he's just gonna find a way to be like decent.
Yeah. No,
That's just
it's possible. Kyle
and they have
Owens is pretty good. He's not bad. He was behind some good guards last year. He's definitely a very capable scorer.
yeah. He's probably gonna find some guys to break out, which
For sure.
have
I
a
just
few
don't think I'd
JUCO
have them above
guys.
Fullerton. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not sure if I shouted him about Fullerton either.
Yeah,
I
no, and
might
now I'm looking at the rosters. I'm like, the way you've described Fullerton, the way I've seen Riverside's roster, like, I think I'm gonna, and I do like Riverside at 9. I'm probably not gonna,
I might
oh,
need to make some adjustments to
I'm
that.
gonna
But
move Riverside to 8, and we're gonna move Bakersfield to 9. How about that? Right?
okay.
Because
Yeah.
I don't like Barnes. I really don't. Even though he's on the hot seat and has to perform, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah. The number 2 team in the conference last year was UC Santa Barbara. They tied for first, but UC Irvine won the tiebreaker. UC Santa Barbara obviously made a tournament, and I think we probably both had them at first.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, just most talented. AJ Mitchell is so good. He's probably an NBA player. Would you agree with
hmm
that?
I would, and they have a history of sending guys to the G League and the NBA. Who's that guy from 2 years ago?
Ja'Cory
Yep,
McLaughlin.
man, he's with
He's
somebody's G League right now.
Yeah, he's floating around there somewhere. I think Miles Norris in G League too.
Yeah,
There's
no, he is.
yeah.
They have a
But
lot
yeah,
of talent.
AJ Mitchell. You got Stolzberg potentially really being good under the new role.
They have a number, somebody else who's a really good catch and shoot guy. I forget his name. He
uh
can shoot the
Cole
ball.
Anderson.
Yes, he is
He
awesome.
can he can he's a good he's like
No, he
perfect
is.
because like AJ Mitchell can't really
You know,
shoot
he
like
reminds me of like a mid-major Jordan Hawkins. The way he comes off of screens,
yeah,
catch and
little
shoot, quick release. Obviously a
different, but
Walmart version, but like, he has a lot of catch and shoot skills and come off
he
screens
does. He
really
really
well.
does. He really
Uh,
does.
and he shoots it really efficient for the tough shots that he takes too. So he's going to be awesome. And you have him and Schultzberg. I mean, that's just
Mm-hmm.
going to be
You
really,
got Josh Pierre-Louis back.
oh gosh,
I
Temple legend.
mean, you got Johan Traore, obviously, and you got Fontenay, who I'm high on. They have a JUCO big man who could be decent.
If
Like,
there's one flaw with them, it's pure Louis trying to do too much. And that's always been his thing. He's turnover prone. He tries to take too
yeah,
many shots. He's not a scorer.
not
He's a
really.
distributor. He needs to just be the guy who sets up looks for others. When he's trying to do too much is when they've
Yeah,
gotten
or
into trouble.
he's definitely pretty decent at getting to the rim. I think.
Yeah, no, it's always been
Can't really shoot the
one of his
ball.
best attributes. Nah, he's never been that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think
Solid though.
Schulzberg's going to be big because he can shoot, and
Yeah, they
Mitchell
shouldn't
and
be
Pierre-Louis
asking
can't
Pierre
really.
Louis to do much. Like he shouldn't be taking 10 shots a game. Like if he's taking 10 shots a game, but other shots good shooters can be taking. So
Yes.
If they have a flaw, I think that's one of them.
Yeah, he's still gonna be really good though.
Yeah, he's in a perfect role. I think this year
Mm,
more than ever. So
yes. Winning the conference last year was UC Irvine, who obviously lost a lot. I've met fourth this year.
I have them at fifth. Yep.
Okay. I mean, I'm obviously, as I stated, high on Bant Lupton. Justin Hone maybe breaks out. Pierre Crockrell is a really good pass
I
first
love
point
Pierre
guard.
Cockrell, man. Him at Pacific
Yes.
was awesome too. Like he's just such a good floor general. He controls the pace
Hmm.
so well. And he gets big buckets when you need him to as well. Like he knows when a team needs him to score, when when his team's struggling to score, he can get by guys, he can shoot a little bit. He's not a huge scorer, but his best attribute is definitely controlling the
Yeah,
pace.
I mean,
And
he averaged more assists and points last year, so
right, yeah, that's definitely him for sure.
yes.
But I
And
think this
yeah,
year they're definitely gonna need him to, be a little bit more of a scorer. Like I just don't. I have my issues with Tillis and Hone, honestly. Tillis
yeah.
had his games too. He was actually pretty efficient last year from what I saw. But I just don't think he's a number one. He's never been in that role. He could emerge into it, but
I mean, I think Hone could be a number one guy, like based on the like
true.
the volume of shooter he is, but I don't know if he's good enough to be that.
Yeah.
Obviously, like Lupton is like really good. I just don't know. Like
Shoot, I mean,
he
he
just
could
needs
be
to
their
get
number
minutes.
one.
I mean,
Yeah,
he's their best player for
he
sure.
is for
It just
sure.
depends on like what type of like is he going to be the go-to option or is he going to be the best
Right. Is
player
his
who's
conditioning good? Like he's a big
mm-hmm.
guy, right?
Yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
gonna can he log 35 minutes a game? Could he log a 30-minute game? Like those things you
Mm,
gotta consider,
yeah,
right?
yes.
And they have a
That's the
lot of good
biggest thing.
backcourt depth too, so they might not want him playing that much.
Yeah.
I meant front court.
Um one intriguing piece I'm intrigued by is Dylan Thorner, who's a transfer from Tufts. He D3 transfer. Um he can really shoot a ball, was a D3 All-American. I think really could play well with Crockrell because he's gonna get some shots. He's gonna get some
Yeah, I
looks
mean,
and
look, that one guard spot is gonna be yeah, Pierre's obviously their point guard, but
yeah.
I could see Pierre coming off the bench some too. Like if Dixon.
He's got it. He's got to start.
Yeah,
He's
no, I
got to
feel
be the
like he
point
does gotta
guard.
be out
He's
there.
got to be the point guard.
Who do you think could be sent out of the to the bench maybe if one of their young guys gets
I mean,
maybe if
it
home
could
doesn't shoot
be
well?
Hone or Thorner. Like I don't really know how these guys are gonna play with like the advanced minutes.
Like, yeah, see
Um,
if Dixon breaks out or,
yeah,
if one of those young guys plays well and, maybe deserves a start. Like,
yeah, yeah. Darren Sarin is another guy. Like he's a freshman point guard. Could see some minutes as well.
yeah,
Perhaps.
no, they're
Yeah.
definitely Irvine's in a much different spot than they've ever been in this
Yeah.
year.
Those guys should have came back. Why did DJ Davis transfer to Butler? He's not Butler's it's ridiculous.
I think
Butler's not
I
gonna
think
win.
I think
He's
DJ Davis was kind of disappointed that they didn't make the tournament. Yeah,
he's not a high major
Irvine,
player.
look,
Like
Irvine won the
he's
league last year, but they were really weird. Like they were really inconsistent last year. They were way more inconsistent than they usually are. They had their flaws even defensively last year, believe it or not. They were spotty, and that's been their identity in years past, right? They're a really good defensive team that's going to grind you out. And they were spotty there too. I don't know why both of them left though. That was just
DJ Davis is not really a high major player. He's an undersized shooting
yeah, no,
guard. Like he
DJ
was
showed a
good.
ton of upside
He
early in the
was
year,
really good.
right?
He can really shoot the ball, but like I don't think he really fits into the high major
Yeah,
world with.
second half of the year he was brutal, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a reason they weren't playing great until later on. Dawson Baker was, probably their best player at some
I
times
probably
last
would
year.
have rather had Baker back than
Definitely.
Davis.
Davis was really good first half of the year, though. I'm not going to say he wasn't. He was a stud.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, he
remember
was
against San
good.
Diego State? Oh my gosh, he was so good against them. Um, then after that game, he fell off. Definitely started to struggle. Started to shoot it poorly, 4 shots. Yeah, he's really capable. It's just you don't know what version you're gonna get, and obviously being in the Big East is a humongous step up. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of agree. I don't know
Yeah,
if
I'm just not a fan. Like, how tall is he?
he's
Let's
6'3".
see.
I don't
Is
think
he?
he's any
No,
bigger
he's
than
six
6'3".
one. He's 6'1".
6'1".
Yeah,
Jesus.
so that's what I'm saying. Like, can he play at high major level?
Um,
Probably not. He's
and
not a
he's gonna
point
be one
guard.
of Butler's
He,
featured options. You know that.
yeah, Butler's. I don't know. They
Ooh,
apparently don't have like great NIL either. So what is he even getting? He's
obviously not.
losing, and
Yeah, what were the connections there? I just don't see any.
it's a high major team that won him apparently. But he's good. He'll shoot the ball well. He just is a little undersized. Will probably get burned on defense.
Right, right. That's it.
Yeah. So that is all of our teams. Let's see. Do we have anything else to talk about? I don't think we do. So is there any other notes on the conference that we want to mention?
Um, hmm. Maybe we could talk about if there's any spoilers come conference tourney time.
Okay.
If there's any teams, obviously Santa Barbara. I don't think they're a lock to win the conference tournament at all. I think Hawaii can easily take them down,
Yeah, I think Long
personally.
Beach State is intriguing in that perspective because of the talent that they have.
Yeah, they're always in the bid stealer
Yeah.
conversation. I have to see how the pieces play out, though. Like last year, I wasn't really all in on them for being a bid spoiler. Um,
Yeah, but like Sahonis gets hot.
I was all in on Riverside last year, and they they lost an OT to Santa Barbara or some crap. It was a
Okay.
really good game. Um, yeah, Santa Barbara just outlasted them. So finding those bits, yeah, I think UC San Diego is probably my number one
Are
pick.
they I don't think they're eligible for a
Oh, they're not
tournament though.
eligible. Nope, they're not. You're right.
And I don't think it's been
Nope.
enough years.
They're only 3 years.
It's got to be soon now. Like maybe in a year or two they'll
2 years, I think. They're still relatively new.
Yeah, they're I don't think they've been
That
too long.
sucks. But don't doesn't the Big West still allow them to compete in a conference tourney? Most do.
I don't think so. Because
Oh, you know what? They
no,
don't. No, you're
because
right.
like I remember like
Well, they were never
Jace
in it
Roquemore
either.
and like Jake Kozakowski entered the portal like really early because they were just done.
Oh, that sucks, man. Well, you know what? If they're not eligible, they shouldn't be in the conference tourney. Because then if someone gets bounced by them, like,
Yeah. Okay, it'll be the 24-25 season when they're eligible.
oh,
So
so
like
it's next year.
next season, not this year, but the year
Okay,
after.
that sucks.
It's not too far away. Yeah, it's a stupid rule though.
This
Like,
is Bryce Pope's last year, isn't it?
think so.
And
I want to say
Francis
it is.
too.
No, Francis is. He has 2 more years left.
That's good.
He was young. I mean, yeah, he's pretty young. But yeah, their team is
You know what? Honestly,
sortable.
we're gonna have to look to Fullerton.
Yeah,
Fullerton's
Fullerton.
definitely a team that could play at a really high level, like if they want to. And
Hmm.
they've been a spoiler every year. They made the
Yeah,
title game like 2 years in a row now, and they won it the one year. So
yeah. I think they're.
obviously, UC
I'm
Davis.
interested to see what Cal State Northridge brings. Like, are they going to be like somewhat intriguing, or are they just going to like be more of a just like building year?
Yeah, that's true. I think they're just gonna be a fun watch. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well,
That's good.
let's see. Any last notes on the Big West?
That's really it. I mean, it's gonna be a fun conference for sure. You know,
It is a fun one to watch. I
it's
like
not a
watching.
mid-major conference that lost a ton compared to others that we're gonna be covering that lost a lot of quality teams.
Yes.
I'll even say the mid-major scene's down a lot this year, especially as a whole. So, but the Big West is not. They didn't lose much at all. They
Yeah.
reloaded in some ways. So
Yeah. Definitely a fan of watching some Big West basketball. So
for
you
sure.
should watch it too if you're listening to this. Anyone watching
They're
on
late games, but
YouTube.
like they're during the week, so Like I know, like
Mm.
if you're doing like your homework, just put on the background. Like
Yeah,
I do
it's
that
a
all the
perfect
time.
background. Like doing your homework and watching Cal State Northridge versus Long
And
Beach
once
State
you've
in the
done your
background.
homework, you
That's
can watch the end of the game. Right?
perfect.
It's exactly what I did during school, man.
Yeah. Shout out Big West basketball. But
Yes,
yeah, we
sir.
will be back probably soon. We have a lot of conferences to roll through and
Yeah.
not
What
that
are we
many
doing
days.
next? Should we go to the Pac-12?
I think we might. We might have to do our well, that's
The
Pac-12.
the Pac-10, and we'll have some special guests on here for the
It's we
Pac-12.
will.
We
We
have some
will.
Pac-12 experts in the
We do
final
have
year
some. We do.
in in the swan song year of the
It
Pac-12.
is our first and last Pac-12 preview podcast. Probably, unless something crazy happens
And
and like
honestly, the Pac-12, especially the last month, has gotten really interesting with UCLA again, all these guys, right?
yeah, I mean yeah,
They're
the
going to be
Pac-12.
way better than they were like 2, 3 months ago. So,
Yes,
like,
we will don't need to give too many spoilers though. We
don't
will
sleep on
talk
the
about
Pac-12 though. It's going to be a fun preview.
it's
Gotta
gonna be
watch.
yes. But yeah, we will be back probably in like 1 to 2 days. Like
Yeah, honestly, we do
we will
need
be
to get
cranking
these
these
out.
out. We're doing
Yeah, I
all
agree.
32 of them, and we have 74 days before the
Look, in
season
that
starts.
chat, we've been dropping Pac-12 preseason standings probably
We
all
have
all the
so
time.
we will
So
give them to the public next week
exactly,
or not next week. I keep saying
couple
next week because
days.
we podcast every week. It might be tomorrow. Who knows? We will podcast sometime now. But yeah, we will see you momentarily, probably for Pac-12
For
podcast. But
sure.
yeah, follow our social medias. Follow us on Twitter/X at Hoopscoop Media, Instagram at Hoopscoop Media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't. If you're what I mean, obviously we
We're getting
host these
consistent numbers in that
podcasts.
series, man. Yeah.
But yeah, we've also been doing the top 100 countdown. Today was Yale number 74. So yeah,
You'll probably see a couple
73
Big
more
West
videos.
teams on there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I UC Santa Barbara was the only team in there, and that was came out like a week or two ago.
No
But yeah,
Hawaii.
no, not quite top 100.
Yeah, I guess.
They're
That's
good,
true.
but like they're
They're
probably
not deep enough. Yeah.
like they were 130th last year. I don't think they're gonna be
Oh, they're not
that
better.
much
Yeah, they're not
better.
better than last year.
Like maybe they are, but like at the same time, like it's
Look, I mean, they finished fifth last year, but the Big West was a lot better. A
yeah,
lot better at the top last year.
it was really good at top and really bad at bottom.
Right. Hmm.
Yeah, well, we will see you very shortly to talk some Pac-12 basketball with our special guest, and yeah, stay tuned to find out who that is.